Red flag laws, 7 reasons to oppose them. Most of us have heard the term red flag law come up in a pro-gun, anti-gun debate. On its face, it doesn't sound bad, right?
Yep.
Communists have proven over and over again that they are really good at the euphemisms game. This is because they think you are stupid. These laws are also called extreme risk protection orders. This allows courts to issue orders allowing law enforcement to seize firearms from people who have committed no crime but are believed to be a danger to themselves or others. Yeah, strong pass on that. I am not, I don't trust the government to do anything, but allowing somebody to say, hey, I don't like Craig. I think he's going to harm his wife. So I think the law enforcement needs to go over there and clean him out. You know, basically giving that power.
It's the idea sounds good. It's like, well, we don't think they're well, and we don't want them to harm themselves, or there's a domestic situation. We should probably, take that stuff away to make sure that nothing happens. The stuff gets abused, and the main thing is it takes away due process.
Yeah,
you are punished, honestly, before you even knew anything was going on.
Does it sound like a movie?
It kind of does.
I don't trust the government to protect me here lately at railroad crossings. For crying out loud. Why am I going to trust them to be a good judge of character of who should have a firearm and who should not?
I am with you there.
In 2019, President Trump signaled his backing of a bipartisan Senate legislation sponsored by the bane of my existence, Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal. Right there, those two names, I tell you what. This is one of the only handful of things that DJT did in his first term that was flat out wrong.
Yep.
I think I can count maybe 5 or 6 things that I'm like, what the heck are you thinking, Donald? But this one was disappointing. Yep. There you go. I love Trump, but dude, I will slam him if he does not line up.
Yeah, he completely went out of bounds on that one, just like he did with the bump stocks.
100%. 100%. I know that we will never get a president or a representative that meets us 100%. I get that.
Right.
I get that. But he or whoever is next needs to be stone cold, hard pass on any infringements of the 2A, including red flag laws.
Yep.
Period. Gramnesty and Stolen Valor Blumenthal as co-signees should have been enough to give Trump a hint that it was no bueno.
Should have been.
So, red flag laws have garnered support from several conservative intellectuals as well, such as David French, I'm not a big fan of, and Ben Shapiro, which I am a fan of, quasi. Ben's been wrong on other stuff too. He's a very smart guy, but he was one promoting the clot shot.
Yeah, every once in a while, they will make mistakes.
Right.
So.
All right, here are the 7 items. I kind of spouted off there and got off topic, but number 1, there's no evidence red flag laws reduce gun violence. Connecticut enacted the nation's first red flag law in 1999, followed by Indiana in 2005. This means social scientists have had decades to analyze the effectiveness of these laws. What did they find? The evidence, New York Times recently reported, for whether extreme risk protection orders, i.e. red flag laws, work to prevent gun violence is inconclusive. That's not from a right-wing outlet. That's the biggest left-wing rag there is, New York Times. So, according to a study by Rand Corporation on the effectiveness of gun safety measures. So that's straight from the New York Times. Number 2, why red flags don't work. Congress lacks the authority. Here we go. We talked about that.
Yep.
All right. The question is, does Congress care if they lack the authority?
Lately, I would say no, they don't.
You'd be right. The Founding Fathers clearly enumerated that the powers of the federal government in the Constitution Among the powers granted in Article 1, Section 8 are the power to coin money, to regulate commerce, and to declare war, to raise and maintain armed forces, and to establish a post office. Did you see anything in there regulating firearms?
No, I did not.
I can't read very well, so maybe I missed it. Regulating firearms is not among the powers listed. You would be correct. Number 3, we have federalism. Unlike the federal government, whose powers, James Madison noted, are few and defined, states possess the powers that are numerous and infinite, or indefinite. Meaning?
Well, essentially, the federal government has a very well-defined corridor they're supposed to be in. Everything else is supposed to be up to the states. And we have completely inverted that.
Yes, we have. So we had alluded to this back on our divorce videos, that this might be, going back to a federalist country, may be the answer to avoiding a civil war and avoiding a breakup.
Yep.
This is a good example. Number 4, red flag laws violate due process. The Constitution mandates that no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Seizing the property of individuals who have been convicted of no crime violates this provision. You already touched on this a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, essentially, you are applying a punishment for a criminal act when no criminal act has occurred. It's to your point you made, the movie, with our buddy Tom Cruise. You can't go and start prosecuting people before they do something just because it makes you feel warm and tingly inside.
Right.
That's just wrong.
Minority Report is the movie. Number 5, red flag laws could lead to more violence. How could that happen, you say? In 2018, 2 Maryland police, this is just an example, 2 police officers shot and killed 61-year-old Gary Willis in his own house after waking him at 5:17 a.m. The officers, who were not harmed during the shooting, had been ordered by this red flag law to remove guns from his home under the state's red flag law, which had gone into effect 1 month prior to shooting. So they bust into the house at 5:17. Poor old Gary Willis is probably still snoring. Doesn't know if it's somebody trying to rip him off, rape his wife, whatever.
Yep.
Probably pulls a gun, which gives the law officers the opportunity to...
Yeah, well, they have the just cause then to, and that's the way that these red flag laws work. There's no indictment. There's no advance notice. As often as not, they'll do a no-knock in the middle of the night to try to minimize risk. But for a lot of people, especially people who are, I would say, firearms enthusiasts, if someone bursts into my house in the middle of the night,
you've got 3 seconds to make a decision.
Yeah, it's going to go bad for somebody.
Yes.
So, and that's there again.
So basically, this is the no knocks or the red flag laws is going to create a death by cop situation.
Yes, it's going to increase the likelihood of that over and over.
Very good point. Number 6, it's not just the mentally ill and grave threats who are flagged. This is the one that bothers me.
Yes.
In theory, red flag laws are supposed to target individuals who pose a threat to themselves or others. In practice, they can work quite differently.
Yep.
In a 14-page analysis, the American Civil Liberties Union of Rhode Island explained that few people understand just how expansive the state's red flags laws are. Meaning, you can be an enemy of the party in power. You can be somebody that has power, has a grudge against, and wants to pay back. All these things. There's no check and balance to make sure that the person that it actually is being flagged here. I mean, you could call me mentally ill and call me in and have, maybe I pissed you off.
You could have one of those driveway border disputes with your neighbor.
Yes.
And your neighbor could say, I don't think he's stable. And, before you know it, there you go. And there's no repercussions to someone for what would end up being a false report because the way that these programs are set up, it just takes someone to say that they believed that there was a danger, and they just go full tilt.
Yep. Tell me how much how much do you trust that in the kind of state of things?
Not at all lately, especially lately.
That's the biggest one. Number 6 is my biggest problem. I hate I agree with and I hate everything about red flags, but that number 6 really kicks me.
Yep.
Right in the nads. They're basically, number 7, red flag laws are basically pre-crime. We kind of already talked about this. As previously observed, red flag laws are essentially a form of pre-crime, a theme explored in a 2002 Steven Spielberg movie, Minority Report. We already talked about that.
Yep.
If this sounds far-fetched, consider that the FBI and Biden's own executive officers recently were exposed for trying to influence Twitter and Facebook, among other social media platforms, to collaborate with the Department of Justice to catch red flags using algorithmic technology, compromising civil liberties and property rights to prevent acts of violence that have not yet to occur are policies more suited for dystopian thriller movies.
Yep.
And police states, more so than a free society.
Absolutely. I hope you've enjoyed this clip from the Craig's Gun Channel Random Shots program. The program airs Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. On Random Shots, we discuss content ranging anything from preparedness, survival, politics, firearms, basically anything that's 2A related, with sometimes some rabbit trails and things that aren't related at all. If you enjoy this type of programming, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified when we release new content. And if you like it, hit the like button and share us if you would as well. It helps the algorithm and helps the channel grow and helps get our message out. So I guess until next time, stay safe.